Penguin Random House Audio presents Under the Rainbow by Celia Laskey. Read for you by Michael Crouch, Will Damron, Lisa Flanagan, Kaleo Griffith, Danny Martinek, Brittany Presley, Lorna Raver, Abigail Ravache, Jonathan Todd Ross, Kristen C., and Phoebe Stroll. Year 1. Avery. I'm sitting in second period biology, where I should be diagramming a chain of DNA, but instead I'm diagramming something way more fascinating: the back of Jake Stromer's neck. The spot where his light brown hair meets his sun-tanned skin looks like a bird in flight, with two arches connecting in a V in the center. I imagine what it would be like to reach out and touch it, trailing my fingertips down to where his skin gradually pales at the rim of his gray, frayed t-shirt. I'd pull the shirt off with my teeth. I'd rip it right in half. Then I'd kiss my way down his spine, stopping at each bony knob. When I get to the two dimples at the base of his back, my hetero shame hits. Hetero shame. Noun. Fear of coming out as heterosexual to your lesbian mom who you know wishes you were a lesbian too. That's right. I'm a straight 15-year-old girl with moms who basically raised me like a dog show poodle to be the most perfect lesbian ever, with just the right amount of feminist theory and fall flannels and whale watching. Not that there's any whale watching here, and not that my moms are even together anymore. A few weeks ago, I moved from Los Angeles with my mom, Karen, and my brother, Corey, to Big Burr, Kansas, a charming little hamlet of 10,000 people that has definitively been labeled the most homophobic town in the U.S. Try not to be too jealous. The most homophobic thing is for real. This huge LGBTQ nonprofit called Acceptance Across America had a whole process for how they narrowed it down. They started by looking at which states had the most hate crimes and conversion therapy and all that fun stuff. Then they combed through people's social media and saw who was dumb enough to publicly say things like, "I hate faggots," or "choke on a dick, you dyke." Then, once they had a few frontrunners, they visited the towns incognito to see what was up. Big Burr was the clear winner. Finally, in an exciting experiment to see if bigots can be transformed into reasonable people, Acceptance Across America sent a task force to actually live in Big Burr. A task force that my mom promptly volunteered to be the head of, which brings me to how I found myself in this classroom. I'm pretty sure they're hoping the task force will work like that old MTV show, The Real World. This is the true story of 15 queers and lefties picked to live in the most homophobic town in America, to work with its residents and find out what happens when people stop being polite and start getting real. We are supposed to stay in Big Burr for 2 fucking years. My other mom, Steph, was not down for the ride. She's the head of programming at Netflix and wasn't about to move to what she calls the Grundle of the United States. My moms fought nonstop for the 6 months before we left about whose work was more important, with a capital I, and whether my brother Corey and I would stay or go. Since Steph travels all the time for work, they decided we had to go with Karen. I threw a shit fit, which obviously didn't change the outcome, but Corey said he didn't mind going. He said he thought it was important to his development to experience how queer people are treated in other parts of the country. Did I mention Corey is essentially a 17-year-old Dan Savage? At our high school in LA, he had a column called The Fag Rag, and he starred in the theater group's renditions of The Birdcage and a chorus line. He and Karen are 2 peas. All of this is why I'm a little hesitant to be like, "Hey Karen, while I totally realize all the ways the patriarchy has held us down, and while I completely appreciate the female form on an objective level, when I fantasize in class, it's about guys, specifically Jake Stromer, and how I'd like to lick his body up and down." Mrs. Stark tells us to pair up with someone and compare our DNA diagrams. Jake turns around and smiles at me, the little gap between his front teeth making my stomach dip.
Let me see. Sample complete. Ready to continue?